All right, this is Algebra, lesson 8.1, monomials and factoring. Okay, so we're going to start out by, since we've watched, we've got a couple of days of review here to prepare you for this. I'm going to give you a quiz so you can do it right off the bat. Okay, so I want you to tell me what does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor of these two monomials. Okay. Well, the greatest common factor of those two. Look, guys, here's the deal. Okay, again, I'll show you one time the long way, and then after this, hopefully you can see that this is quite simple. Okay, the greatest common factor. We're going to do prime factorization for these babies. Okay, prime factorization, meaning breaking these things down into the simplest parts, or its prime factors. What are the factors of 12? What are the prime factors of 12? How do I do that again? Do you remember? We go 12, we go, what is it? 2 and 6. That's prime. 6 is 2 and 3. Right, so then the prime factorization for 12a squared b squared c is 2 times 3 times what? A times B times C. Okay, the prime factors of 18 is 9 and 2. That's prime, and then 3 and 3. Okay, so it goes. So 18ab to the third is 2 times 3 times 3 times A times B times B times B. Okay, this is the long way. What you look for is the common factors. Common factors being what is the same in both. Well, we have a set of 2s, we have a set of 3s, we have one set of A's, and we have 2 sets of B's. Does that make sense? So you simply do the multiplication here. What is 2 times 3? 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6, times A is A, times B is B squared. So then the greatest common factor of these babies is 6AB squared. How many of you got 6AB squared? Good. Doing it, like listen, and I'm going to write it again just so you can see that, so we have, what was it again? Right, 12a squared b squared c and 18ab to the third. All you need to do is this. You're going to look and go, okay, what's the biggest numeral that goes into both? What's the biggest number? 6 is the biggest number that goes into 12 and 18. What's the most number of A's that's in both? There's just an A, right? There's only one here, so you can only pull out one. So there's one A. And then what's the biggest number of B's that's in both? B squared. And what's the biggest amount of C's that's in both? None. So then we're done. It's really quick and simple, right? It really is quick and simple. You guys try another one. Here we go. Let's do one more. 30 q to the third r squared t and 50 q squared rt. Greatest common factor there. I want you to do it. Yeah, just show me. You're doing it. Here we go. Let's do it the short way. Look up here. Look at the numbers, the numerals. What's the biggest number that goes into both? 10. 15 doesn't go into 50. It's 10, right? So 10 goes into both. That's the biggest number into both. What's the biggest amount of Q's that goes into both? Q squared. And then how many R's are in both? R. And how many T's are in both? T. 10 Q squared RT is the answer. How many of you got that? Simple. Okay. I'm going to show you what your homework is right now because, you know, like there's a few secret things that you need to do here and know. Like look on page 472 so you can see the homework that we're going to be talking about. Like number 4, if I give you this, if I say, okay, I want you to factor this out completely. If I gave you a 19x, we won't do number 4, we're going to do a different one, 19x squared y, and I said, okay, I want you to factor that out completely. In other words, use prime factorization to make this, to factor it out completely. This is what you do. You go, okay, 19, how can I break that into something smaller? You can't. You can go 1 times 19, right? And so that's redundant. So here's the deal. What you're not going to do is go 1 times 19. You're not going to put the 1 because that's redundant. Does that make sense? You don't put a 1 there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go You're going to go 19 times x times y. That's what you do. Does that make sense? When they say factor each monomial completely, that's what you do. What's going to happen, though, is what if I have negative 19x squared y? Now is when I have to go negative 1 times 19. Does that make sense? You have to put the negative 1 out there because it's negative. Negative 1 times 19 times x times y. Does that make sense? If it's negative, you got to put a negative 1 out there. You just have to. Okay. What about this? Let's do a crazy one. Let's go, we'll do number 21 here. What if I have 15 r squared t and 35t squared and 70 rt. Oops, not f. rt. And I said, what's the greatest common factor of those numbers, of those monomials? 5t. Not 5. Oh, wait, would it be 5? Yeah, it is 5t. You're right. The biggest number that goes into all 3 of these is 5, right? And then you look, what's the biggest amount of r's in each one? There's no r's in this one, so it's no r here. And the biggest amount of t's in each one is t. Does that make sense? So 5t would be the greatest common factor. If we were to spell this out the long way, then we would just list everything out, and then you go, okay, the only thing that's true for all of it is there's a 5 in each one, and there's a t in each one, and that's it. Does that make sense? Okay. Also look at page 474. I'm going to have you do the spiral review. Spiral review. So hopefully you will be able to do that with no problem. Okay. So anyway, here is your assignment. I'm not even going to look at this is just it. It's going to be page 472 to 474, 1 through 22, and yes, I'm having you do 22 even, plus 39 to 50. Am I doing this right? Okay, plus 39 to 50. Yes, to 50 even. Okay? That is your assignment. I'm giving you plenty of time today to work on this. Aren't you glad we watched the video yesterday now? Because all of a sudden, how quick was that?